Welcome to In Pursuit of Truth. This is your host, Sir Patrick Mack. We are back once again from the near future, not the fancy kind, all right? Grab your coffee or whatever it is you're drinking or doing. Fist bump your neighbor. Maybe give him a little bro nod. Who knows? Hey, maybe give him a little bro hug today if you're feeling frosty, right? Maybe we'll scoochie on that social distancing. Doesn't seem to matter anymore, right? Everybody's spilling into the streets, and that's what we're talking about with these Q posts today. We are talking about the riots and the protests spilling out into the streets of the United States. But here is what we're not talking about. We're not talking about the coronavirus. The Rona. The Cov. That's what the kids call it, the Cov. Okay, I'm a little bit more of an OG, so I call it the Rona. You do what you like. Either way, I don't have it. Do you? No big whoop if you do. I ain't judging, all right? No offense. No offense if you had it. Maybe you had it and you don't have it anymore. Either way, doesn't seem like anybody's really worried about it. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to clear this up once and for all. Yeah, I brought in my own little resident expert. How you like them apples? This is Dr. Baby Shark. Dr. Baby Shark, thanks for being here. First of all, you got the Rona?
I don't have coronavirus.
I don't have it either. I don't know anybody who does have it. Looks like some people had it. I'm not really sure. Maybe you could explain to the good people what's going on with the Rona.
Coronavirus only goes to something else. You go inside, but you don't eat them.
Yeah, well, you're not supposed to eat coronavirus, right? That's a dumb thing to do. Don't eat the Rona.
Yeah.
But there's dumb people out there that sometimes will do that kind of thing. What happens if they do, Dr. Baby Shark?
They make them cough.
Well, that sounds terrible. Moral of the story, don't eat coronavirus and maybe you won't get it.
I don't have coronavirus.
I don't have it. Maybe you do. No offense. No one's judging around here. Thanks, Dr. Baby Shark. Let's do the post. Post 4362, 44 minutes after the hour of 11. Q is responding to this right here. This was the post from the other day, just yesterday, 4354 here. And you're seeing the old anti-fascist flag and the newer anti-fascist flag. And you remember this post. And now we got this right here from Donald J. Trump. The United States of America will be designating Antifa as a terrorist organization. The Anon is saying, I know we're beyond the need for Q proofs, but Q post May 30th, 2020, which was yesterday, this right here. And then POTUS tweet May 31st, 2020. So this is what we were speculating on yesterday and is indeed what the president decided to do, designating Antifa as a terrorist organization. And of course, that set off all kinds of firestorms across the media sphere. And now we get a Twitter status to Laura Ingraham. They want a civil war. This has been their aim for decades. Even during Obama years, social media made their insurgency more efficient. And then she is retweeting Dan Bongino, who says the radical left formally divorced itself from America last night. They are domestic terrorists and enemies of the United States. They should be treated as such. Yeah, well, I would agree. And Dan Bongino's been pretty fired up. I think we've all been pretty fired up over the last couple days for good reason. But I do want to point out that both Laura Ingraham and Dan Bongino, and I should add, as well as Mark Levin, have all used the word insurgency. And that's exactly what Q is pointing us to here. Keyword insurgency. And we saw this just yesterday in some of Q posts as well. We're going to touch on that actually in the very next post. But that was the key word that Q was talking about. And indeed, that is what we're dealing with. Post 4363, 53 minutes after the hour of 11. You got 435363. And then we get this link again to the 2009 document discussing the language in regard to insurgency. We read it yesterday. I'm not going to read this whole thing for you again today. I'm just going to show it to you here from Eric Angelo at Mr. Eric Eric Angelo on Twitter, who says the guardhouse at the White House has been set on fire. The police rushes forward and gas the crowd. And sorry, I don't have any audio there, but he's discussing and basically saying the same thing right there. Now, he adds on in this tweet below, let me be clear, I don't know what the burning building was that is some hundreds yards from the White House, but it appears to be a security-related building. I was being tear gassed, so y'all will have to forgive me for lacking certainty. Okay, well, we can see the video and we can see that it's pretty gnarly either way, but this is exactly what we were talking about, insurgency. We kind of expected this. The POTUS was hinting at it, and here we are. This is Alex Salvi from OANN breaking. The DOJ deploys members of the U.S. Marshal Service and DEA agents to assist National Guard troops responding to protests outside of the White House. Okay, so it's gotten pretty serious here. Now, what I do want to read to you is what's added on down below. Counterinsurgency may be defined as comprehensive civilian and military efforts taken to simultaneously defeat and contain insurgency and address its root causes. Okay, well, this has also been around for a long time. You may remember, of course, COINTELPRO, right? And that's exactly what we're talking about in this document, insurgency and, of course, counterinsurgency. Okay, well, I think you understand, just like there is insurgency, there is counterinsurgency. Q is implying that this has been going on for quite a while, and I'm going to show you some hints of that in just a moment. But let's move on to the next post. Post 4364, 56 minutes after the hour of 11, Q's responding to an anon who points out the line and address its root causes. Please and thank you. I think we can all agree with that, right? It's one thing to go up and down the street and play a little punch face with these skinny jeans, but it's another thing to deal with the people who are actually funding them. And I highly suspect, as I suggested in my last video from yesterday, that there were a lot of European elements. I think we should keep our eye on France. Hint, hint, wink, wink. There's a few different countries that I think might be supplying some warm, fresh bodies to bring over here and cause a little trouble. You'd never really know once they put a mask and a hat on, right? Addressing its root causes, the people who are actually funding this knuckleheadedry, the people who are feeding these people, giving them bats, giving them bricks, giving them whatever it might be, and letting them go on about their day. Otherwise, people would never be sauntering up to the White House the way they are, right? Q is responding and saying, true that's homeboy. I don't know if Q says homeboy. I just did. Post 4365, 51 minutes after the hour 1. The Twitter status is to the Justice Department. Attorney General William P. Barr's statements on riots and domestic terrorism. And here it is right here. Attorney General William P. Barr's statements on riots and domestic terrorism. I'm just going to read you the highlighted parts here. It is time to stop watching the violence and to confront and stop it. The continued violence and destruction of property endangers the lives and livelihoods of others and interferes with the rights of peaceful protesters as well as all other citizens. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Look, I agree with everybody's right to go out there and protest. I understand why they're pumped up the way they are. Even if you think this story is a little bit sketchy, the fact of the matter is that we really need to be sensitive to this matter. When people die or when things happen like this, people have the right to protest, but I think we all understand full well what's really going on here. There is a sub-narrative that is being played out, and a lot of people still don't see this. Now, let me get to the meat of this here. Federal law enforcement actions will be directed at apprehending and charging the violent radical agitators who have hijacked peaceful protests and are engaged in violations of federal law, to identify criminal organizers and instigators, and to coordinate federal resources with our state and local partners. Federal law enforcement is using our existing network of 56 regional FBI Joint Terrorism Task Forces, JTTF. The violence instigated and carried out by Antifa and other similar groups in connection with the rioting is domestic terrorism and will be treated accordingly. Okay, so it looks like game on, ladies and gentlemen. And if you're out there trying to get film or whatever, I understand the bravery of that, but also realize that please be careful, because we don't really know who is whom at this point, right? And we've seen this before. As a matter of fact, I made 2 videos about it, the Weatherman 1 and the Weatherman 2. And if you've not checked those out, I highly suggest that you do. It really explains the entire process, and I think understanding the story, how it played out back then, really kind of paints a picture for what we're seeing right now. But this is indeed domestic terrorism. Now, I also want to share with you this tweet from Mark Noller, who says lights that usually illuminate exterior of the White House have been turned off. Okay, well, when the lights go off at the White House, that means game on. Very serious indeed. Now, could this this be a reference to our upcoming 10 days of darkness? We've kind of always speculated about this for a very long time. I don't know. I'll toss the idea out there, but we won't really know until we see it play out. But indeed, the White House isn't playing games right now. This is domestic terrorism. We're seeing it spill onto the White House lawn. It is game on. All I can say is stay safe. Post 4366, 10 minutes after the hour 3, Antifa mapping started a long time ago. All right, we'll allow yours truly for a second to pull back the curtain, give you a little perspective from Mr. Perspective. That's what they call me, Mr. Perspective. Back in 2017 was really when we started to see Antifa come up, right? And again, in 2019, they made problems with the attack on reporter Andy Ngo. We talked about that in yesterday's video. But I want to go back to 2017 when this sort of all began, right? They hit the streets shortly after President Trump became President Trump and was making all this big noise. And everybody was approaching then FBI Director Christopher Wray saying, hey, this is a terrorist organization. You got to do something about it. To which he says, no can do. They got to be guilty of a federal crime. We got to see evidence of a federal crime. So fast forward to 2020, where we are right now, and we see some of this happening. And along with this announcement that we just saw from AG William Barr calling Antifa domestic terrorists, he also implied the other day that anybody crossing state lines to riot, loot, protest, whatnot could be held for federal crimes. Well, that would be exactly what we're talking about, right? Not to mention the fact that President Trump tweeted about Antifa, simply calling them a terrorist organization, not a domestic terrorist organization like AG William Barr. So this suggests to me, once again, foreign influence, and I've been kind of hinting over the last couple of days at Europe's involvement. As a matter of fact, I was talking about this group entitled On the Move. This was a phrase that Q states every single time they correct a misspelling, which leads me to think that there was something more to these misspellings than we thought. So Q will misspell something. You can go back to Qmap if you want to see it, but every time they correct a misspelling, they imply that they're on the move. So this group On the Move, we talked about them yesterday, cultural mobility, whatever that means, sounds like a Soros outfit, right? And whether it is or not, it seems to be a globalist outfit, and it seems to have a heavy European influence. And I posted on Twitter just yesterday after the video some of the people that were following this group On the Move on Twitter. And you have the likes of Greta Thunberg, you've got some people that sit on the EU Council, and of course the French Embassy. I have a feeling there's a lot of French influence here. But like I said earlier, it would be really, really easy to send Europeans over here, put a mask on them, and call them Antifa. But either way, it looks like we are dealing with both foreign and domestic terrorism. Now, I also want to show you this from OC Antifa, and a big thanks to Lisa Mae Crowley on Twitter, who took a screenshot of this because their Twitter profile ended up getting suspended after they left this really cool thread. But we do have a screenshot of this. You'll get the idea. Attention, Antifa comrades. Today marks the end of an almost 3-year operation. Our infiltration of your movement was a success, and the faces and identities of everyone who has attended or financially supported Marxist and seditious activities has been recorded. The countless patriots whose lives you have ruined and families you have terrorized will finally be avenged. No longer will the American people tolerate your red terror and subversion of everything we hold dear. We have identified dozens of militants and sympathizers in local politics and academia, including professors at University of California, Irvine, and local DSA officials. The reckoning is here, and you are all going to feel the wrath of a nation who has finally had enough of your games. Enjoy prison. How about that? It's almost like maybe you shouldn't act like such a punk because you never know when you're gonna get punked. You never know who's listening, who's speaking, who's who, right? So I don't know what's going to happen with OC Antifa, but I will say this. There's a lot more like them. 4367, 26 minutes after the hour 3. This is really cool here. An anon post this. This was a tweet from Donald J. Trump who said strength, and he was retweeting one of our own QAnon all-stars, Sean Corticon. Does a lot of great information over on his YouTube channel. You can check him out at Twitter at Sean Corticon. We knew this moment would arrive. We had the calm before, during, and after the storm. So for those of you at home, that's the whole freaking time. If we continue to accommodate, continue to back and retreat, eventually we will have to face the final demand, the ultimatum. And what then? And that is from Ronald Reagan. The Anon says something that I can't say. It's a family show. Q says, trolling is fun. Indeed it is. I love it. Love to do it every single day. Sometimes I'd like to pick out randoms. Sometimes I go after people for a reason. It's what I do. Don't tell me not to. If you're on Twitter, don't say, hey, Patrick, ignore the trolls. Don't feed the trolls. No. I'm the troll. Trolling is fun. Let it go. Do the thing. Just do the thing. You know the thing. 4368, 34 minutes after the hour 3. The Twitter status is to Q_Estion everything. You see what he did there? Because that's question, but it's also Q. And then he puts a 17 there in case you didn't figure it out the first time, knucklehead. MSNBC equates QAnon with Antifa. Oh my goodness. Check it out.
Also, he has just tweeted about Philadelphia and somehow saying it is the but only really saying that the blame lies with those who are Democrats, which is significant, Stephanie. And I believe as he is taking on Antifa, if I'm not mistaken, the president has just elevated something that comes from QAnon, another extremist group. So as he's trying to take on one, he seems to be amplifying another. The president.
So one is being not elevated, then the other one is being elevated. This one over here is higher than this one over here, and that's not equal, which means we gotta complain. QAnon doing all this protesting, even though we don't see any MAGA hats, we don't see any American flags, we don't see any QAnon stuff, we only see Antifa stuff because they're being relegated and the other ones are being elevated.
Q says, buckle up. Here we go. Some of us have been ready for this for a long time, ladies and gentlemen. It's go time. Moving on. Post 4369, 14 minutes after the hour of 4. We get a Twitter status to Garna Mejia. Q says, humanity at its finest. Together we win. And as you can see, we got Patriots cleaning up in Utah there. This is what Utah is all about. And it looks like she's at the Utah State Capitol, the Beehive State. Thanks for sharing and good on you for getting your shout out there, Garna. Very nice. You can see a bunch of patriots cleaning up the mess that all the environmentally conscious left behind. Humanity at its finest indeed. 4370, 42 minutes after the hour of 4. The Twitter status is to Trump students or students for Trump at Trump students on Twitter. Twitter doesn't like this video being posted on their platform. They even banned the person who posted it as soon as real Donald Trump retweeted it. So give it a watch and a retweet. And it's about a 1.5-minute video, and I'm actually going to play it for you at the very end. So be on the lookout for that. 4371, 17 minutes after the hour of 7. Oh, no. The Twitter status is to Yashar Ali, who says, nervous for his safety. Secret Service agents abruptly rushed the president to the underground bunker used in the past during terrorist attacks. Okay, well, it's just not true. So we're not going to go looking into this New York Times article because Yashar Ali doesn't know anything about news. Not doing real news over there, Yashar. Anyway, it looks to me like President Trump was actually in the Situation Room, which means it's about to go down. Q says false. Woodshed utilized regarding intelligence management. Monitoring of situation. So it looks like we've got more than one situation, but I'm assuming that Woodshed here is talking about the Situation Room, which means it's about to go down. Up in your face, homeboy. Post 4372, 39 minutes after the hour of 7. The Twitter status is to Mark Levin, who says there's an insurrection taking place now. There's that word again. Anarchy. The governors must send in the National Guard. The president must now lay the legal predicate for potentially sending in the regular military. Q says all assets being deployed. People used as pawns controlled. Well, that's where it looks like where we're at right now, Patriots, and I don't know what to say about it. I don't think it really matters what we feel about it at this point. It looks like the show is about to go down. So hunker down or bunker down. I always hear people say it either way. Is it bunker down or hunker down? I thought you were supposed to hunker down. You hunker down in your bunker. I don't know. 4373, 47 minutes after the hour 7. You're witnessing the greatest coordinated disinformation campaign to ever be launched against the American people. Information warfare, infiltration versus invasion. insurgency. Irregular warfare. D, being Democrats' efforts to regain power. Now, I do want to point out that this V, it's not a VS or a V period, it's just a V, so I'm not sure if there's some significance right there. You can let me know what you think down below. I thought it was a little bit curious, but I think we get the general idea, unless there's something else to be picked up on. We understand the general idea. We are being essentially invaded, right? It looks like a lot of these guys are from out of town, if you know what I mean. Hint, hint, wink, wink. Let's move on. Finally, Q leaves us with 4374 at 8 o'clock. Be strong in the Lord. That, of course, comes from Ephesians 6, verses 10 through 18. We've seen this before. Q has posted it about 8 times now. Finally, be strong in the Lord and in his mighty power. Put on the full armor of God. And I like this picture right here. This guy's ready to go. He's got the sword of the Spirit, the helmet of salvation, shield of faith, feet fitted with readiness, looking a little square, like maybe he's ready to smooth out some concrete while fighting, the belt of truth, and the breastplate of righteousness. He's all ready to go, all geared up, ready to brawl in case it goes down. But at the same time, he's got kind of an affable face. You know, after I give you this backside whooping, I'll help you move. I've got a pickup truck. I'm that kind of guy. You get the idea. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe 6/10 is a reference to June 10th, which is coming up very, very soon. Not really sure, but Q has mentioned this now 8 times, so we shall see if we see it again. But those are your Q posts. I'm going to leave you with this video right here. As always, if you like this video, please click like, share, and subscribe. You know what to do. It's all down below. Do the thing. You know the thing.
I knew this day would arrive. It's only a question of when. And I knew the American people would rise above it and vote for the future they deserve. The only thing that can stop this corrupt machine is you. The only force strong enough to save our country is us. The only people brave enough to vote out this corrupt establishment is you, the American people. Our great civilization has come upon a moment of reckoning. I didn't need to do this, folks, believe me. I built a great company, and I had a wonderful life. I could have enjoyed the fruits and benefits of years of successful business deals and businesses for myself and my family, instead of going through this absolute horror show of lies, deceptions, malicious attacks. Who would have thought? I'm doing it because this country has given me so much, and I feel so strongly that it's my turn to give back to the country that I love. I'm doing this for the people and for the movement, and we will take back this country for you, and we will make America great again.